What's up, savages? Terrence Pop here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And tonight we have a guest, an actual police officer who's been doing it for 10 years at some podunk department in Indiana. Because let's face it, he's willing to talk about a lot of the sensitive stuff that goes on from that side of the fence and from his perspective. And we got to protect his identity because I don't want to see anyone lose their job or get, twisted up for being on my show, even though we basically tell the truth and provide sources and shit like that. I don't get it. Blake got called away. He had some shit to do. So we have Jimmy in the house. Jimmy Bones.
Come on.
What's
There
up?
we go. Got to click the right button there.
All right.
Yep. But before we bring on our guest here tonight, we have a story that is actually rather relevant to the discussion tonight. This one comes from Brother Varga, number 480. So here's my story. I'm 34 from Wales. I am autistic dyslexic, and I have learning difficulties. I was in around 11-year relationship. I met my ex on POF when I was 23. We moved in together within a few months. We lived in a shared house with 3 or 4 random people. Around a year and a half in, her nana got ill, and my ex wanted to move closer to her family. Not long after, her nan died. Up until we moved, she was quite a sweet, caring person. I missed the first red flag when she moved our, quote unquote, our money into her bank account.
Oh shit.
Yikes.
Here we go.
There is a whole other story about money, but that's not why I'm telling you my story. Just know I had 30 pounds a week to live off of. It's not much.
That's not, yeah.
So within 6 months of moving to her hometown, she started showing her true colors. She cut me off from my family and friends, took my phone away, and then the abuse started. Can't go into much detail right now because of the situation I'm currently in. I will explain in the end, but we'll give the general idea. Over the next 9 years, I was subjected to financial, verbal, and psychological abuse around how I struggle with daily life and with my autistic traits. It was all weaponized against me. Nothing I did was good enough, and I basically became a slave. I would have left if I could, but I will get to that now. Besides those things I just mentioned, my ex also started graping me. First time it happened, I tried to stop it. At the time, I weighed 22 and a half stone, or 315 pounds. She was close to 30 stone, 400 pounds.
Wow.
Maybe more. After she finished, she says if I told anyone, no one would believe me, and she'd go to the police and say that I graped her. It's usually how it goes. A month later, she said, I looked upset, so I confronted her about what happened. She apologized and said she got carried away and going to the police was a joke. She said she'd made it up to me with a mouth hug, so I stupidly agreed. After the mouth hug, she graped me again and said the same thing. Tell anyone and she'll just accuse me. I had pretty much died inside. I was trapped with her for 9 more years.
God damn.
She pretty much did what she pleased and used me whenever she wanted, and I just had to put up with the abuse. I stopped showering, eating, and sleeping. Yikes.
Wow.
Fast forward to November 22nd. I had enough of the treatment, and I was getting and finally split up. At this time, we were renting a house association with both of us on tenancy. Within 24 hours, she was with one of her male friends. This guy turned out to be the guy she always wanted to be with before we met. She only got with me because she couldn't be with him. The guy is 5'5", skinny, and a yes ma'am. Pretty much a beta soy boy. I think she wanted a kid with me, and then to get with him. After she tried to get pregnant with me for years, it just didn't happen. Thank God.
Oh my God. Well, it probably didn't happen because she's so goddamn fat.
Yeah.
Like, these women don't understand. When you're that heavy, it fucks your hormones up. And a lot of times they're infertile and they don't even know it.
Yep. I think I'm either firing blanks or she's just too big to get pregnant.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, back to the story. They were saying, I love you within a week and planning a baby and marriage within a month after me and her split. So for the next 6 months, I'm looking to move out. She tried to get me to sign my rights away for the joint tenancy by saying the housing association will rehouse me. Turns out they don't. I have a support worker by this point, and they said, sign nothing, keep looking on the housing site for a new place.
That's right. Don't sign shit.
Alrighty, going forward to May 2023. My ex rang the police and accused me of controlling the money, threatening her with an air rifle and grape. So I get forced out of my home where we lived in separate rooms for the last 6 months.
Uh-huh.
She got tired it was taking too long for me to move out, and she wanted her boyfriend to be able to come over. She had been spending 5 days a week at his place for 6 months, but now I had to go. The grape she accused me of was apparently going on the whole relationship up 2 years before we split. She said it was going on when she was sleeping, but the truth is she graped me when I was awake and when sleeping. But the sleeping was put down to sex in our sleep. I sleepwalk in general, and it was a non-issue. Hindsight is 2020, after all. This is explained after the fact. At the time, I believe it was just sex in our sleep. It was not an issue for her when we were together, but magically became one now that we split up 6 months later.
Mm.
Shocker. So now I'm on bail, waiting to see if her claims go to court. The police from day one have done nothing but lie and try and screw me over.
Yep.
Shocker again.
Yep.
They sent an extension letter to me with a 5-day notice to add more evidence. I got a letter 2 weeks late. It was dated for August 9th, and I got it August 23rd. So I missed the window, probably by design.
Okay.
The police took my phone, my knife collection, and air rifle. I had knives and air rifles since I was 8 years old. My ex knew I had this hobby before we met. Now she claims she always was scared of them in the flat. I have no history of violence, no history of anything bad at all, but I'm treated like a violent criminal.
Mm.
Anyway, my bail is now extended to December 21st. They waited 3 months before they even started looking into my case. Notes, my ex has bipolar disorder, is a narcissistic. She has HPV, VD, and countless yeast infections, among other things, while we were together.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
Well, here usually when a woman gets yeast infections on the regular, somebody else is dumping DNA in that crevasse. Just so you know.
Ugh. Yummy. Sourdough bread, anyone? Ugh. Ugh. Yeah. All right, where's that here? She has been cheating on me since day one. She has about 12 male friends that she used to bang before we met. During our relationship, I was never allowed to go out or talk to anyone, so she didn't get them from me. Her new guy is one of these male friends. Nice.
Yep.
There's a lot more to this story, but I can't go into it right now. If you're interested in the rest, I will write the rest after my case is sorted, assuming I don't go to jail. Wish me luck.
Well, I hope you don't go to jail.
Good luck, brother.
England, listen, England is really effed up. I mean, it's effed up here in America, but it's even worse over there, and it's probably a close second to Australia, because I hear all kinds of horror stories from men down there, and I even have a couple guys from Spain who, basically one guy was the equivalent of a physician assistant, thrown out of his house, forced to pay for the house that he didn't live in. It took 2 years for it to work through the courts, and with no evidence, anything, he was found guilty, but they downplayed it where he had to pay this just egregious fine. And, the guy's out there flapping because of these false accusation bullshit. It happened. Still, we got that one guy who was a guest on the show still in jail from that bullshit. Now, he was tried on 4 counts of bullshit. He was found guilty on 2, but the judge wouldn't allow him to introduce video evidence for his self-defense. Basically railroaded him, so now he has to go through the whole appeal process. And all I could say is, it's going to get to a point, if it gets bad enough, where people are just going to get justice outside the courts. And I don't want to see that happen, but I can feel it coming. There's a lot of people out there who are getting sick of this shit. So it is what it is.
It is not going to be pretty.
No. And I don't know. I mean, I've had quite a few interactions with the police. And typically, I've always, been respectful. I didn't get out of pocket. I obeyed their instructions. When they asked for my ID, I gave it to them. And for the most part, I've, I've done okay. There's been 2 different occasions I've had detectives call me and want to talk to me, about some bullshit that went on with my ex-wife and her living arrangements, that which I was not even involved in. It was just, I was suspected of doing this. And I literally I told the detectives, I'm like, if you're going to charge me, okay, just let me know. I will come turn myself in. But this is an adversarial relationship. I hold you guys in the highest regards, but I understand that any further communication is going to have to take place between you and my attorney. And I pretty much shut it down. Like through the grapevine, I heard that my ex-wife's garage got broken into and they suspected it was me, and this was like 10 years after the divorce was finalized. And actually 8 years after it was finalized. And I'm like, it's been 8 years. There's been no static at all. This is ridiculous.
Yep.
But, I understand how the process of, how it works here in the States. The best thing you could do is, if the police call you, is just shut your mouth. It is what it is.
Yep.
All right, let's bring on.
We'll just finish this out. Just got a few more lines here.
Okay.
It says, now I got my own place and trying to start a new life. This may not last if my ex wins. I'm struggling with not ending everything from the trauma of the abuse. And now with the threat of imprisonment, I'm waiting to get therapy. But there is a waiting list. So for now, I drink myself to sleep, and I thank my family for the support. Thank you for listening to my story, Brother Varga.
Hey, Varga. Don't feel bad about drinking yourself to sleep, because I've been doing it since 2004. All right. There's no shame in that. You do what you got to do.
Yep.
All right. Now, in regards to trying to get therapy, I understand there's probably a queue. That's what they call it over there in England land. But we have like 1,100 videos on virtually every subject there is in regards to male-female relations. Finding your purpose, fighting against hopelessness. Just, watch the library, get a few laughs out of it. And if you got a drink while watching it, by all means, do so. But listen, I've made a video called Testiculous Redonkulitis, where a lot of these controlling women do exactly what happened to you. It's a blueprint for a narcissistic sociopath. Right now, hopefully, this will not happen to you again in the future. I think that one of the reasons that it did happen is because you are a high-functioning Asperger's individual. A lot of the social cues that normal people deal with, see, and react to instinctively, you guys have to learn that. And if you aren't taught that at a proper time, it actually has very negative ramifications on your life moving forward. All right. Now, I am probably going to bet on the side that this is going to get, you'll probably get a slap on the wrist. My advice to you is, don't do the woman thing again, especially with a 400-pound Wamalo ditch pig from England. Don't do that.
Solid advice there, Pop.
I'm just saying.
All righty. We will go ahead and bring in that guy, and you and him can hash things out there, Pop.
All right.
That guy, are you there, sir?
I sure am. How's it going, guys?
All right. First of all, since we understand you've been on the job for about 9 to 11 years, somewhere in that time range, and retirement is anywhere from 20 to 30 years, depending on department you work for. So you're in the danger zone.
Yes, I am.
So I understand. We're going to keep your name out of it, or at least use your first name if that's okay. Not a big deal. And so, how long have you been patrolling?
So I'm actually in a more supervisory position now, but I patrolled for about 7 years.
Is that about average for the normal police officer?
It entirely depends on the department. If you're in a larger department, you can move up depending on how quickly people are retiring. I started in a smaller one, so it was a little slow for me to make sergeant, to make a supervisor. But it's it all depends on the department. Like they say, every department is its own little kingdom.
Yes, yeah, I've noticed that. I did have some interactions with some of the smaller cities in upstate New York in Red Trash Land, and some of those guys were just off the hook. Like one guy, literally, he acted like he was the don of the town.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then there were some other ones like this one guy. I swear to God, he was a hippie because he was so mellow. He's like, "All right, dude, this is the way it's going to be. I can write you an appearance ticket, or we can just roll you up right now, and it just will be ugly, and I don't really want to do that." So, yeah.
That's in New York?
Yeah, I'm just give me the appearance ticket.
That sounds like a Vermont cop.
No, it was because I had an altercation with the dude in a bar. I called his wife a whore because she was talking to all these other people.
I gotcha.
I didn't know she was his wife, and it was so crowded he couldn't swing on me. So he just like grabbed me, and I grabbed him, and then everyone like, "Oh no, a fight!" And they kind of just wrestled us outside the front door. And then once we got outside, he didn't want to fight anymore, and I didn't want to go to jail. So I'm like,
that's fair.
So like, he goes, "You called my wife a whore." I go, "Look, dude, I didn't know. One, I didn't know she's your wife. Number two, she's like, talking to all these other dudes at the bar. And number three, she's not out here, is she?
No, she is not."
And I watched his face just go, "Oh." And then, he swung on me a couple times because he got mad, and I broke contact and left.
Yeah.
But it was that one 60s cop that found me the next day because, I was on active duty. There aren't many active duty guys, around that area. So he literally walked up on me while I was filling up my car and gave me an appearance ticket. And I had to guide. I went to their court system is insane. You have magistrates and we agree that we're gonna bring it all down to disturbing the peace.
Right.
So I have to sit there in court and tell them I disturbed the peace. So I did this. I'm like, Your Honor, there was peace, and I disturbed it.
There was no longer peace after I left that scene.
I paid like $115 fine, but thank God that guy handled it because they could have fucked me up, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in some states, you don't have a choice. I don't mind saying the first place I was a cop was in. Well, I won't say the state, but in that state, I'll say for domestic violence, we had absolutely zero discretion. If we went to the scene of a domestic violence complaint, and if there was any evidence of physical altercation, we have to assume guilt and make an arrest.
And usually that was the dude, right?
Usually, and it's not because it's only dudes that strike their partners. It's because women are sneaky about it. They'll go for the hair where you're not going to see any marks or anything like that. They'll yank their partner's hair. They'll, slap them or something. Dudes, they get angry and they fucking lay you out. And
boom!
There's going to be a bruise. There's going to be a contusion, but that doesn't mean they're the only ones doing it.
Listen, I saw a woman at a bar once go just a little bit too far. And she broke this, it was like a wine carafe over this dude's head.
Yeah.
And laid him open. Like, I'm talking at least 10 stitches or staples to get that fixed.
Oof.
He does this. He stands up. He looks at his hand, and it's just full of blood. Blood's running down his face. And he just hit this bitch so fucking hard. I swear to God, her feet came off the ground. She was unconscious. They had to take her away in an ambulance.
Yep.
And the cop showed up and just attacked this dude and ripped him apart. And, it was, and we're all like, no, this is what happened. And it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that needs to get fixed because, in my opinion, the women out there, they know the power that they wield. And they know it's, basically 3 numbers on the phone away They could say whatever they want without any evidence, and more than likely, the dude's going to get hemmed up.
Yeah, and that's a really messed up thing because I mean, if we're talking about just like simple assault or domestic violence, there is that factor to it. Luckily, the state I was talking about, they started leaning towards arresting both parties if there was
Any violence?
Yeah, if there was evidence of violence on both parties, they just, instead of trying to find someone at fault, the legislature basically said it's going to turn into a giant he said, she said, arrest them both, screw it. Which, you know, that's better than just the guy always being guilty by default. But
yeah,
it's difficult. And then if we're, I don't know if you want to take this in the sexual assault direction, but
no, we'll talk on that later. Because
okay, I'll put a bookmark in that one then. But yeah, it's I went to calls and listen, people will say things like women are more passive, they're more peaceful, they can get along better. I'll tell you straight up, the lesbian relationships were the most vicious domestic violence calls I ever went to.
I know.
Ever. I had one group of females. I think I was on nights at the time. I went to their house. They were close to domestic violence. They weren't quite there, but it was just verbal arguments, throwing stuff around. They didn't hurt each other yet, but I told them, listen, you got to go live somewhere else for a while. You got to cool off. This doesn't sound healthy. I tried to give them all the resources we're supposed to give them. Mm-hmm. That same night, I got off my shift, and then my buddy on midnights, he texted me before I went to bed, and he said, yeah, I'm back at that house. And then I guess the same thing happened 2 other times when I was off shift, and I ended up getting the warrant to go make an arrest with one of them because they just would not stop fighting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Now, I had to intervene with one of my soldiers in New York. She was obviously a vertical liver licker, and it's like 6 o'clock at night. I am not even in the office. I'm just like literally eating dinner.
Yep.
And this soldier calls me. He's like, "Hey, I'm in a really bad situation. My partner called the cops. This is going to get bad for me." So I get my car. I roll over because she was like 2 towns away. I get there like 20 minutes later. The cops are there. And I'm like, "Hey, this woman is in my company. She's one of my soldiers. What's going on here?" And once I showed up and started talking on behalf of my soldier, the cops changed their attitude a little bit. And nobody got arrested, even though I think there probably should have been an arrest because it looked like both had been thumping on each other. It looked pretty even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, she had to. I basically took her back to the unit, had her sleeping on a cot until she could find different digs.
Yep. And that's the thing that just annoys me in general about domestic violence. If that shit's gonna happen, you two weren't meant for each other. Just move on.
Correct. Find
something else. It's not worth trying to make it work. You're just gonna get more hurt, or they're gonna get more hurt, and it's just gonna get more serious.
Yeah, one of he's passed away now. His last name was Qualls, black guy. He was a Green Beret in my Special Forces unit. Great dude. But he used to go to domestics all the time when he on the department, and he wanted to stay on patrol. This guy patrolled for like 26, 27 years. So, and what he would do is literally show up and be like, "Okay, you got 2 choices. You get in the back of the car and I'll take you somewhere. You can sleep it off or do what you got to do. Or I'm going to put the cuffs on you and put you in the back of the car and we're going to have to, do it the other way."
Yeah.
There's the easy way and the hard way. What's it going to be? And then most of the time they'd pick the easy way, and he would take them to like this, seedy hotel or something and get them a room and he would do everything in his power to make sure that he didn't have to put people into the system unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more of that from the police, I think.
We need that flexibility to an extent. The problem occurs obviously when people are being selective about who they offer that to.
Yes.
And really what we need is a legislative relook at some of this stuff and decide what is worthy of actual punishments and what is something where they just need to break them up and make it a civil thing, you know?
Yeah. Like, just think of all the court time and costs that's wasted because
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
two Twinkies decide they want to pull their multicolored hair out.
And then most of the time, the case is just going to be dismissed. The prosecutor is going to say, I don't want it, but, you know, we're paying the prosecutor's salary. We're paying the judge's salary. We're propping up this apparatus that isn't working. And half of the time when it works, it's not actually bringing justice, but it's bringing what some people might consider to be justice.
Yeah. And that's another thing I think that's making it really bad is all of these laws. It's just adding more bureaucracy, which is just becoming incredibly brutal on the common man.
Yeah.
Because bureaucracy is a bitch. You know?
Oh, I mean, I know you've been in the Army. I'm also in the Army Reserve.
Okay.
I'm getting up to that. I'm actually I've worked at a division level, and I see how slowly things move, and I see how slowly regulations change, and I see it's all the really ridiculous things slowing it down. There could be a streamlined way of doing it. I'm all about the process. You have to do things the right way, but yeah, bureaucracy kills people, and it makes people not want to serve, honestly.
Oh yeah. We can we can get to that. I put together a couple of courses. I did administrative violence divorce edition, administrative violence working man survival guide, and I'm actually working on administrative violence military edition.
Oof, we need that.
Yeah, because a lot of these young EMs don't understand how the system works.
No, they have no idea.
They get pushed around and treated like shit, even though they shouldn't.
Yep.
And there's when I was, they hated me because I always came to the defense of the underdog.
Yep.
Why that is, I don't know.
It's the American thing to do, and I'll get into that a little later.
Like, for instance, I had a guy in one of my companies, and he was getting divorced, and he moved out of the house back into the barracks so there wouldn't be any drama. Well, she comes to the unit bitching and moaning about how she has no fucking money, blah blah blah, and the first sergeant and the commander are like trying to get this guy to give up his entire paycheck or most of it because he lives in the barracks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like going to give him an Article 15 if he doesn't comply. And I'm literally like, okay. I'm like, First Sergeant, you are fucking up by the numbers here. This is undue command influence, number one. Number two, the regulations do not support what you're ordering this guy to do. So if you give him an Article 15 on unlawful orders from undue command influence, you're both going to get hemmed up here. So this is what's going to happen. She's entitled to his BAH. That is it.
Yep.
And that's what happened. But
I love it when people don't understand the regs or how something works, and they just kind of, because they're the commander, they think they can dictate. Yeah, they think they can dictate how it goes. Actually, my old first sergeant, he was suicidal, and I ended up talking him down.
Good for you.
Getting him help. Coordinated like a 3-town search for the guy, found him, talked him down. He's great. He's still in. He's doing fantastic. But the battalion commander at the time was like, well, he's done. He can't be an MP anymore, you know, because he had this emotional event. And I'm like, no, sir, that's not how it works. That's actually not what they're teaching us right now.
Yeah.
So I had to go to bat for him and make sure that he didn't get his clearance taken away or anything like that.
Yeah, and if they revoke your clearance, it is hard to get back.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and because I worked as an S2, and
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I actually I've received half a dozen requests from up higher to revoke people's clearances.
Of course,
and 3 of them I didn't because it was like a tit for tat, crybaby, you know, somebody's feelings got hurt kind of shit.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, that's not really going to work out. If I revoke this person's clearance because you have a personal problem with him, and then he gets the IG involved, and then I'm going to get hammered. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Just look, put on some boxing gloves, work it the fuck out. This is stupid. The other three actually did shit that, was worthy of revoking a clearance, like plugging a thumb drive into a secret computer.
Ah, brilliant.
Big note.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hammered that guy for that. Especially after, we gave him like one warning and went to like, two classes to educate him in regards to what you can and cannot do.
Wow.
But, it is what it is. So during your 7 years of patrolling, how many, on what percentage would you say you had to go on domestics?
Oh, domestics all the time. If it was evenings, especially, we just expected to be going to domestics pretty much all night. It was traffic, domestics, and then every once in a while we'd get either a burglary or something like that.
Oh, the fun ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. So, so the domestics are burning up a lot of our taxpayers' time, is what you're trying to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And most of them don't even end up being domestics. It's just a verbal argument or something stupid, didn't meet any of the statutes.
Yeah. Or if, like, I've had a couple soldiers get hemmed up, and all they did was walk past the woman on the way out the door.
Oh, wow.
It didn't, and like just pushed her aside and left. And
yeah, thankfully I didn't have too many of those, but yeah, that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. And that one, whoa! I remember having to go to court with that guy, and I was I testified as a character witness.
Yep.
Because I worked with a guy in the regular, and I'm like, he's not a violent dude. It's just not his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, how could you tell he's not a violent dude? I'm like, because I'm a fucking killer. I am the pinnacle of violence. I know another violent person when I meet them.
I've trained my entire career in violence. How else do you expect someone to know?
Yeah. He is not that guy.
Exactly. I'm that guy.
Yeah. But listen, you can tell. You hang out with enough killers, you understand who the killers are and who aren't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
not just the killers, but the people who take action rather than think things through or talk things through. You get a feel for them.
The guys who just go in, they have two speeds: stop and destroy. There's like nothing in between.
I always loved when I got that guy as my backup partner. Like if it wasn't really a domestic and I had the situation under control and I was just talking people down, and then that guy showed up and he just keyed everyone up, I was like, Jesus Christ, here comes an entire night of paperwork. He's going to piss the wrong person off. It's going to become assault on an officer. Here we go.
Or worse, it could, turn into a federal lawsuit.
Yeah.
Those guys, that's becoming more prominent nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
And I myself know a lot of police officers, because a lot of officers also serve in the military. So I've probably served alongside with probably 500 plus, either federal police officers or just local police officers.
Yep.
Across 33 years in the military. All right. For the most part, they were all pretty good. There was a couple guys that, this is like National Guard units that were working as officers, and you would hear some of the shit they would do. And there was a couple unsavory guys who literally would verbally instigate people and then relish in just kicking their ass, tasing them, or whatever.
Yeah, the power trippy types.
Yeah. Listen, that we don't need power trippy guys in the police department.
No, absolutely not. And the wild thing is you can always spot them. Like in the academy, I knew who the problems were going to be, but that's like gut feeling. You don't have the evidence to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, turns out 2 or 3 years later, they got arrested for doing something stupid, throwing a handcuffed prisoner against the jail cell wall, dumb shit like that.
Yeah. Did you hear about that case about that one dude that died in county jail from basically hypothermia?
Was it recent?
No, I think it was in the last 18 months.
I actually haven't heard about that one. I'm surprised. I'll have to
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah. Like he got arrested on some bullshit,
Yep.
goes to jail, and then dies of hypothermia.
And it's just like unlivable conditions in the jail, or was he
No,
like?
they actually put him into a refrigerator and a
What
restraint
the
care
fuck?
to punish the guy, and he died.
Oh my god!
Like,
I did not hear about that. Holy shit!
I mean, that's the kind of shit that you would figure there'd be like 500 armed people outside the department ready to start putting people in the dirt because that's unacceptable.
No one cares. It wasn't on camera, and it wasn't a protected demographic.
Yeah, you're probably
right.
That's
That's just how it goes.
But that is insane. I don't even know what happened with that. I think they swept it under the rug or whatever. The media doesn't really report on that.
No, they don't care. It's not going to get them more viewership.
Yeah, I got you. So you would say that the domestic violence calls of like the gay people are worse than straight people, or just lesbians?
So I would say if I was talking in mixed company and I had to be diplomatic, I'd say they're people. They fight just like straight couples. But no kidding, lesbians are vicious. Gay guys, they fight the same way straight couples fight, from what I've seen.
Let me introduce you to my list of dumbassery.
Oh, what you got?
Raw dog and the wrong woman, not recounting your woman or her mom, drunk driving, drugs, fighting, ignoring your needs, know what you're worth, allow women to lead you, loan a woman money, because that never happens. You just give it to her. You don't know yet.
Right.
Willingly go to the friend zone, ask questions, lie and deceive, allow fear to win.
Yeah. Those are some good ones.
So you got the two people. Okay, so they probably didn't recon the situation.
Absolutely not.
Probably a lot of ignoring needs. Now they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is what it is.
If you're throwing that, if you put that on a dartboard, they're hitting a few.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know, man. What is the worst one you went to?
The worst domestic violence call?
Yeah.
So this one's going to be a straight couple, unfortunately, because I know that's a little off theme. But the worst one I ever went to, and it's not necessarily because of what they did, though it was pretty bad. Her face was like red and swollen, and he had scratches on his face like near his eyes and stuff. Like she tried to claw his eyes out. But what made that one the absolute worst was it was on midnights. So it was around 2 a.m. I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And they started getting rowdy with us, and it was just us two there. We didn't have the whole squad because midnights is usually a little anemic shift-wise. But my partner, who's there with me, he decides to OC spray because the guy's like getting all huffed up and ready to fight us and doesn't want to come with us. And so I'm bracing myself. I'm getting ready to jump on him. He says OC, and for those who don't know, OC spray is pepper spray. Mm-hmm. Oleresin capsaicin, or however you say it. He says, OC. I'm getting ready to jump on the dude. He pulls the trigger on the spray. He depresses the canister, and it doesn't shoot out towards the guy. It shoots sideways directly into my eyes.
Oh, shit.
And what happened was the nozzle had gummed up. And that's just, he didn't check it before he went out on patrol. So I got it directly in my eyes. And so I'm there yelling, with my hands out, trying to find someone to fight. Because I hear it. I can't see it, but I hear what's going on around me.
Nice.
Yeah, I hate that shit. If there's anything that cops do that should be counted as cruel and unusual punishment, it's spraying people with that stuff.
They do tend to get a little liberal with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it doesn't actually do anything. It just hurts people's eyes, makes it difficult for them to see. But if they're combative, they're still combative.
Yeah.
And it lasts for like 7 hours. So when you get it in your eyes, it's just miserable.
Yeah. And I actually, I I got pepper sprayed twice, and both of them were training events in the military.
Yep.
One of them was at the Griffin course, which is a personal security detail course they send green beanies to.
Mm-hmm.
And about a week in, about 7 a.m, they line us all up, and then they just walk down there and spray everyone in the face with like standard pepper spray that I think 5 million Schofield units of.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Burning goodness, spicy air.
And I literally, the day before, I got a little G2, got a heads up on what's going to happen. So I had a little carton of half and half cream in my pocket.
Yep.
In some dish or in some, napkins and stuff. So I get sprayed. It sucks. I find my way to the pit, to the bench, because they give you an hour to recover.
Yep.
And I kind of soak the stuff down, and I put it on my face, and rinse my eyes out with the cream. And it didn't instantly get rid of the burning, but with it, after an hour, it was, you could work through it, I guess.
Yeah, you still feel raw, but
Yeah.
you can at least see. Now, I was peeking at the comments, and since you're a military guy, this might be a fun little tangent to go off of. What did you think was worse, CS gas or OC spray?
OC spray.
Yeah,
easily. CS gas, you can walk that off in 20 minutes.
Oh, dude, like 30 seconds afterwards, like, yeah, I've got like snot ropes coming out of my face, but I can breathe 30 seconds after I'm out of that chamber. But the OC spray, I'm telling you, my eyes, like, I felt like I shoved red hot nails in my eyeballs whenever I got hit by that stuff.
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. I'd rather do CS gas any day, and then taser, and then OC spray.
Here's the funny part, though.
What you got?
At 8 o'clock, we were starting our training for the day, and we were literally doing paintball, interactions with cars and shit, doing pit maneuvers, breaking out of, block driveways. And it's Florida, so we're sweating our balls off.
Yep.
So the OC spray, because of the sweat, literally slowly went down to my neck.
Mm-hmm.
It was on my chest. And right around 4 o'clock, it was burning my balls.
So the first time I got OC spray, that happened to me, but it was because I was washing it off in the shower.
Uh-huh.
And no one warned me to cover the goods. So yeah, that was a fun evening.
Yeah, I literally went back to my hotel room and watched the entire football game in the bathtub because my balls were on fire.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh my god!
And then we had PT the next morning.
Yeah,
the people who still had little crystals in their eyes, or their sweat was activating it, and they were burning up again.
Yeah, but the thing is the milk or the half and half deactivated the stuff on my face.
Mm-hmm.
But it was on my hair, neck, and everything, and it literally just, because I was sweating, it just moved down my body. It was absolutely miserable.
Yeah, it's nasty stuff.
Now, are there any products you can get that could stop the burn, or what if you're spraying?
I mean, it's nothing we know of, nothing we use. If someone goes to the ER with it, they tell you the same stuff, like anything with milk or cream in it. Mm-hmm. They kind of sometimes recommend making a putty or a paste, get some kind of starch and some kind of milk, mix that up. And honestly, I've tried everything in the book. That stuff didn't work for me. I react pretty badly to OC spray. It's the blue-eyed, fair-skinned folks don't fare well with it. So I've tried everything. The best thing that worked for me was just continually rinsing with water.
Ah, I gotcha.
Yeah, but some people have success with the cream, some with the milk. And then there's the dudes who don't react to it at all. I had one of those guys in my academy class. I was insanely jealous of that.
Yeah, and we had one guy who was immune to tasers.
That's crazy.
He literally, they're tasing him, and he's like, I feel it, but it's not. We're like, you should
was he
like a Christmas tree?
Was he like really fat or really skinny? Like
no. He was a big corn-fed dude.
Really?
From Iowa. He was like 6'4", 260, easy.
Because it's usually the more muscle mass you have,
Yeah.
the more it's gonna hurt because that locks you up.
Oh yeah.
That is insane.
I did not handle that like a man when they shot me in the back with that shit.
No, I was told I sounded like Chewbacca just had a cactus rammed up his ass when I got hit with it.
Yeah. And listen, if I'm out on the street and somebody pulls out OC spray on me and I have a pistol, I am going to shoot them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Because once I'm blinded, they could do whatever the hell they want. And there's nothing I can.
Well, that or the taser. I don't know if you remember during the year of hell in 2020, there was that one guy who the cops tried to tase him a couple times. He stole their taser, so then they shot him. Yeah, I had a debate with some of my more left-leaning friends over that one. They were saying, no, it's your duty to protect people, and all he has is a taser. You can't shoot him. I'm like, no, I would absolutely shoot him. Are you crazy? If he's got my taser and he hits me with that, he's got access to everything on my belt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not taking that chance.
No, I don't blame you. You know, it is what it is. But I don't know. So you're saying that the worst one you went to was just a standard domestic with, heterosexual couple?
Yep.
All right. Well, when I was younger and I was in the Ranger Battalion on Fort Lewis, we had an agreement with the MPs and then the contracted police that worked on McCord and Fort Lewis proper.
Mm-hmm.
That if they come across, people in the Ranger Battalion or some of the Special Forces units, that they usually would at least try to call the command first to try to get the situation under control. Now, this is on post. This is not outside.
Yeah, not the little podunk town PD. Yeah,
so I'm on CQ. I just got promoted to sergeant E5. Phone rings. It's a staff duty. One of our staff sergeants is living on post, and apparently he's drunk. He's doing all kinds of crazy shit. MPs are in the parking lot. I got like 20 minutes to get there. So I roll up, and they see me get out of the drunk van because we had a big van that had our unit logo sprayed on the side. Get out, and there's like 4 of us, and this staff sergeant was just stinking drunk, just being just a raging fucking asshole, would not listen to reason. I literally had to pistol whip him with a Smith & Wesson Model 19 357, which was my personally owned weapon.
Yep.
He had to get like 3 or 4 stitches the next day in his chrome dome, and we zip tied him. And this is happening right in front of all the VMPs. There's like 6 of them.
Right. They're just like, all right, minding our business.
We walk right by him. Hey, what's up? Throw him in the van. We just drive off. And the next day when he sobered up, he was like, thanks, man. You probably saved my career there. I was, fucking heavy. He basically reached bullshit saturation, and he had like a pretty bad drinking problem.
Yeah.
And he wound up going into a SAPA for, I think, 4 or 6 weeks to get beyond the whole drinking thing.
Get clean, yeah.
Yeah, and I believe he retired as a sergeant first class like 8 years later. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I had to bounce a pistol off his head and got some stitches, but now he has a pension if he's still alive, and it all worked out.
Yeah, you're welcome, bud.
Yeah, and then we had another one where I got called to basically one of the main gates. It's by the Madigan Army Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 4 Rangers that stunk of alcohol, and the guy at the gate made them park in the visitor parking lot.
Yep.
And said, you have 2 choices. We can call the MPs and we'll give you all breathalyzers, or we'll call your chain of command and they'll come get you. So again, my phone rings. I'm on CQ. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be right there. I drive there in the drunk van, and they all think they're going to get in. I'm like, no. Here's your road vests, and I'm turning on the hazards. You're running behind the van all the way back to the battalion, which is 6 miles.
Oh man,
yeah,
they would not let us get away with that anymore. But I love that.
Well, that's the way it should be.
It is.
Because listen, people are stupid. They're going to do stupid stuff from time to time. You just can't nail every idiot to a cross.
No,
You know, if they're habitual idiot, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're going to just...
Sometimes it's a learning opportunity. Depends on the severity of the situation.
Yeah. And like when you go in the military, you're like 18 to 22 years old. You are not, you know, thinking on 8 cylinders. You're like a 6-cylinder thinker.
No. All I needed to see to realize that was the privates coming in now after I was out of that range. Just, they're babies. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, I know. It's literally they got an 8-cylinder engine. They're firing on 6, and the 2 are misfiring because of dick thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it's 4 out of 8 cylinders are compromised from dick thinking, and they just do all kinds of stupid shit. So how many calls did you go on, you know, that where there was actual, you know, fisticuffs going on between couples?
I would say maybe 10% of the calls I went on were like active fights. Rest of them were either past tense or escalating, and they were complaining, but it wasn't actually at that point.
Yeah. How many drunk driving, you know, arrests do you think you made in your career so far?
Drunk driving, I used to keep track of this stat because we have that whole Moms Against Drunk Driving award ceremony nonsense. But I would say drunk driving, typically I would get 3 a week in my town back when I was on patrol.
3 a week, huh?
Yeah, about 3 a week. Because you got to understand, the second you get a DUI, your night's over. That's all you're working on that night.
Yeah.
The paperwork for those is massive, especially because my state basically lets them off the hook or gives them, you know, a wrist slap. So you need to have like an airtight case. My reports, my drunk driving reports, were usually like 14 pages, whereas my like actual assaults were maybe 3 pages.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the lawyers and how they do it.
Okay. So, yeah, 3 a week, huh?
Yeah.
So what would be the usual outcome for first offenders?
For drunk driving or for domestics?
Drunk driving.
So it's if we do get them drunk and they fail their field sobriety tests, it's a summons, and usually it's a slap on the wrist. It's like your 3rd or 4th DUI is when you really got to start worrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got pulled over once and they wanted to do the roadside thing, and I'm like, just give me the breathalyzer. Just give me the breathalyzer. I blew 0-0, and I'm like, okay. So like,
you saved yourself a lot of time. Those tests take time.
Well, I have really bad balance because I, you know, got my bell rung in Iraq real bad.
Yep.
And I'm not going to be able to do any of that stuff effectively. And literally, I'm just like, just pull out the breathalyzer. Let's do this.
Do you know if your eyes bounce with the horizontal gaze nystagmus?
I think they might actually.
Yeah. So I had a guy in my unit. I forget what branch he was, but me and like the other cops at the unit, we were showing people field sobriety tests, and we checked him out, and he wasn't drinking. Like, we were all with him the entire day. We were in the field, but the horizontal gaze nystagmus, you know, the follow the finger test, follow the finger with your eyes test. That's the most accurate test. That's the one that'll actually tell you if someone's been drinking. He gave the signs like he was drinking. Like a ton, but he didn't have a single drop. And yeah, he had a TBI from Iraq.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I literally, they blew my vehicle up while I was in it. It was somewhere between 40 to 60 kilograms of some type of explosive, and it went off like 8 feet off the front bumper.
Yeah.
And the 30-pound brain individuals who went and, you know, checked it out basically said that everyone in the vehicle I was in absorbed 2 to 3 times the concussive force needed to instantly kill a human being.
Jesus.
So why I'm still here, I have no idea.
Oof.
But and that changed my life. Like literally, from 2004 to like 2010, my life was just shit trying to recover from this the TBI, and then having to like put on that brave face and like look normal,
Mm-hmm.
while in the background everything is just fucked up.
Yeah.
That was really tough. That was
I gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Yeah. So you think it was wise for me to just ask for the breathalyzer?
In that case, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you might have pissed them off a little. Depends what their attitude was, but if you haven't drank anything, you're just wasting your own time doing the field sobriety tests. Whereas if you had drank something, I would say do the field sobriety tests, because that burns time, because they have to brief you on it. It's like doing a piss test or an APFT. You have to have the commander tell you the whole 20-minute spiel. So by the time you actually get to doing it, maybe you'll be all right. But if you haven't drank anything and you're just trying to get home, just do the freaking breathalyzer. Save everybody some time.
Does your state have DWI checkpoints?
Yes. However, they have to notify everybody that they're going to be putting them up. So the idea is, rather than catch people drunk and catch people doing it, it's just hey, we're putting this up, don't do it, or don't drive this way. It's
because we had to go through one of those mandatory checkpoints.
Right.
I was the designated driver, so I'm driving a van, and I got like 8, maybe 11 people in there. Everyone's just racked out, drunk, whatever. It's like 30 in the morning. I roll up, roll the window down. They're like, of course it stinks like alcohol.
Of course.
And they're like, give me your ID. I give them my driver's license, military ID. They're like, hey, there's alcohol going on. You need to come out here and do a breathalyzer. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Get out of the van, do the breathalyzer 0.0. And then they're like, yeah, we're gonna pull everyone out. We want to search the van. I'm like, no, we're not.
Yeah, why?
I'm like, I'm not playing those games. They're like, well, this is a military vehicle and we could search it. I'm like, well, if you are on Fort Bragg, which we're not, because I can see the sign right there. So no, we're not doing the search. Thank you.
Was it MPs?
No, there was some MPs there, but there was, because it was off of Fort Lewis. There was also some like civilian cops there, and they're the ones that wanted to do the searching. The MPs were like,
what's their reasonable, articulable suspicion? The fact that you're driving and you are not drinking?
Yeah, I have no idea, but they made me pull over, and like everyone else in the van who was like drunk standing around, they're like, just let them search the van. I'm like, no, I'm doing this on principle.
No, it's the principle.
Yeah. And I'm the designated driver.
Everybody shut up and let me do this.
And I haven't been drinking. No one's searching the goddamn van, because I don't know what's in there. Because these, listen, Joe.
Who knows what the chuckleheads brought with
them. I'm not playing that game. I'm not going up and smoke because some dumbass brought some shit in there and didn't want to get caught.
Yeah.
No, we're not playing that. So, as a patrolling police officer, when you come up on somebody and they're, cooperative, will they have a much easier time than somebody who's just a coarse asshole?
With me and with a reasonable officer, yes.
Okay.
Having said that, I've talked about those personalities already. There's always going to be that cop who just rolls up to a scene hot for no reason.
Yeah.
But me, I keep it chill. I keep it mellow. If they escalate it, I will escalate to counter that.
Mm-hmm.
But with the intent of things simmering down. I'm not looking to throw my back out. I'm too old for this shit.
The same way.
Yeah. Like, listen, it can be so easy. Just listen to the words I'm saying. I'll listen to the words you're saying. We'll do this like humans. But if you're gonna freak out on me and try and pull a knife or something, we're gonna do it a completely different way.
Yeah, I gotcha. So during your career, how many sexual assault calls do you think you've been on?
I would say I got probably at least 2 of those a month.
2 a month. Now, of all of those, which ones would you suspect were bullshit?
So there's a good number. It's hard for me to give a percentage, but there's a good number that were either bullshit or exaggerated, or it was someone fishing for a way to get someone in trouble, or they were being spiteful in some way. And you can usually tell pretty quick when they keep adding to their story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They keep adding to their story. Are you familiar with some of the uniform crime report stats in regards to that kind of shit?
I can't pull it out of my backpack right this second, but I am familiar. I do look at that stuff, and I am familiar with how things are reported.
Now, one of the ways they used to, I guess this is for political correctness, is they had a one of the columns when the sexual assault thing is, they keep track of unfounded.
Yep.
All right. Meaning there's no evidence to support this.
Yep.
But they refuse to call the unfounded false.
Yeah. And that's where it gets really muddy. There's oftentimes with those, there's insufficient evidence to charge with making a false or so often with those, it's insufficient evidence to say the crime occurred. Sometimes it's either the evidence wasn't there, or they're reporting something that they thought was a crime that isn't. Sometimes it's they're deliberately being deceitful and they're trying to get somebody in trouble.
Yeah.
How we find if it's one or the other, it's very difficult, especially since in my state, I can't speak for every state, but in my state, the state's attorneys don't want to touch that stuff. They don't care about it whatsoever. Their reasoning being, if we start punishing people for reporting sexual assault, people will be too scared to come forward to report sexual assault, which is
but the
stupid.
thing is if they report it falsely, it ruins somebody else's life.
Yeah, it does, and that does not sit well with me. My own younger brother was once accused of something like this, and it pissed me right off, and nothing happened to the chick that accused him. Luckily, the investigation didn't go too wild, didn't go too far, but even if it doesn't go too far, being accused of that is it's horrific. Yeah.
Oh no, I've got guys who watch the show on the regular who have lost jobs.
Yeah.
And whole careers because of these accusations.
Absolutely.
Like we have one guy got accused of some bullshit, and he was a mechanical engineer, and he can't work in that field in his state anymore. So he's got to move somewhere else or find a different livelihood.
Yeah, and it's there's an unfair imbalance when it comes to how sexual assault is perceived, how it's reported, how men are basically dismissed if they make a complaint, or they're saying, that probably didn't happen, or you need to man up. But then we have to believe every woman who makes a complaint. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. It's become redonkulous, and that's why we're talking.
Yeah, that's the show. That's the thing.
If it's wrong and ridiculous, it is redonkulous, and therefore we're going to rip on it.
Yep.
So when you add in the unfounded, you come up with a stat which is really close to 50%. Yeah, just think about that.
Yeah.
Half.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie, I want half. Come on. But I mean, that is fucking egregious. We need to do something about it, because men are killing themselves because of this bullshit.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to tackle, because from the get-go, sexual assault is a very difficult crime to investigate. So for a second, if we put a pin in the unfounded ones, if we look at the ones that did turn out to be founded, the amount of work we have to do and the timeliness of it in order to get actual physical evidence that can be presented in court, like, they have to report it right away, and we have to gather that evidence right away, and we have to build an airtight case. So because of how difficult that is, I think a big issue that legislators overcorrect on is they make it too easy to be accused of sexual assault, because they're trying to cast as wide a net as possible, because they feel as if they're not capturing the actual crimes, the actual instances that happen. And that may be the case. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's why the Uniform Crime Report has the dark figure of crime. There's the unreported, there's the ones that don't make the logs. But
you and I both know unreported is more like an educated guess.
oh yeah.
It's like trying
Well,
to
exactly. We don't have the stats. We can't.
Yeah,
Because we're not tracking it right. Yeah.
You're trying to write a plan with fairy dust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good idea, fairy dust.
Yeah. And like, what about the stat that they always use? Like 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5 women is going to be raped or sexually assaulted on a college campus.
Yeah. I've never been a campus police officer, but I have gone to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, all respect to anyone who has been in that situation. It's awful. I can't imagine what that might be like, but college students are freaking wild. And they get drunk and they do dumb shit. And there's college students that get drunk and do dumb shit and then have buyer's remorse the next morning, and they make a complaint. And I've had reports like that where the chick got buyer's remorse and then she tried to accuse the dude of sexually assaulting her, and then I found evidence that they were all about it. And yeah, it doesn't fly. The fact that people feel as if they can use the police as their get back at somebody or cover up for their own shame is that's something as a society we need to break people of.
I mean,
that ruins people's lives.
Yeah. My daughters are in their 20s. They're going to college.
Yeah.
Right? If that stat was correct, I would literally have both my daughters with a samurai sword, pepper spray, and a 357 Magnum on them everywhere they went.
Give them some claymores for the for their bedroom door. Yeah,
take the entire floor, just gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, just think about that though. These feminists are putting this propaganda out there and scaring the shit out of these young women unnecessarily. Because when you actually look at the actual stat, it's like 0.5%. It's such a minuscule, a small, minuscule number. It's not even really worth mentioning. But they have blown this whole thing out of proportion, and I think they've done it mainly so they can collect money and keep the cash cow moving forward.
I think, and this is I'm getting off my professional experience here. This isn't what I've been educated in necessarily or what my experience is, but this is just my hot take. I think you hear a lot about the victim mentality.
Yes.
And how people want to cultivate that because it gives them attention, or it gives them a platform from which they can live their lives and feel good about who they are. You need one of those victim adjectives. There's no doubt women that are scared shitless by that stuff. But I think there's also women who say, oh yeah, it is hard to be me. It's way harder to be me. And that's like a gloating point for them.
Yes. Yeah. And
that's a self-esteem thing, Yeah.
Well, you and I are both military people, so we understand how the world really works, and probably been experienced to actual tough times.
Mm-hmm.
I broke a fingernail, my car didn't start. That's not a big deal.
Oh yeah.
My boyfriend was mean to me, and I didn't get along with my parents. So what?
Yeah.
I think it's like the be all end all of the world. But look, if you want to really experience fucked up shit, get mortared for a year.
Yeah.
Live on one meal every third day.
Proportionality. They have no idea how much worse it could be.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I had to sleep in the rain, in the snow, in the mud, in the jungle, on rocks in the desert. I mean,
the mud bowls are the best.
Yeah, yes, they are.
It's like a glove easing you to sleep.
But the thing is they just, the youth of today, they just don't understand that.
No,
the
it's
real
so
world-
far removed from anything they normally experience. They can't comprehend it. You know.
Well, the way I look at it, and this is my philosophy, is the youth of today live behind the safety of like 4 or 5 fences. Because, you know, if you think about it, you got your city police, you got your county cops, you got the state police, then you have the federal police, and
Mhm.
then you have the military. So the average person is walking around in a country that is probably safer than, you know, well, I'm not talking about some of the cities, but for the most part, it is incredibly safe here in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been down to South America
Oof.
and, you know, doing stuff with the Army. And we'd go out in the town on our off time. We'd have to go in teams of 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to the bathroom by yourself because they used to stab us in the back while you're taking a piss.
Yep.
I mean, that is fucked up shit. And the average person doesn't seem to understand that. And
No, and it's the media cycle. They want you alarmed and they want to tell you how dangerous it is and how dangerous this is, and that's the whole world they live in. And they've never been outside the U.S. They don't get just how well this country is set up.
Mm-hmm. And how many suicide calls do you think you went on?
Oh, so many. God, if I had to put
Are most of them men?
Yes, absolutely. But most of the completed suicides were men. Most of the
attempts were men.
Yeah, well, not even attempts. The articulations. I'm feeling sad and I don't want to be here anymore. That was usually women. Men usually followed through with it, and most of the time it was alcohol was involved.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But, like that's one of the main reasons I do what I do here is I talk about real world problems and I don't really do stand-up comedy. I do comedy lectures about different, subjects.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed because I'm talking about these harsh subjects, making people laugh, that I've got 531 guys in the past, 10, 12 years who've come forward and credited my channel and me and Blake with keeping the gun out of their mouth.
Good.
So, I mean, do you have that suicide problem with the police?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, I mean, would you say a lot of, like, in my experience, when I was doing my research, 70% of the suicides that I researched had a broken relationship, contact and divorce and family court, and, within 3 to 36 months after it began, they die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just, I mean, that is also egregious. And I think it's going to get worse with all of these false accusations and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because, if you're instantly going to, get crucified without any evidence, there's a lot of people are like, fuck this, I'm out.
There's been enough high profile instances where it didn't turn out to be what it looked like at face value. And I think the public is finally starting to realize, maybe there's nuance or maybe there's more to a story than what was initially reported.
Yeah. And like most people don't seem to understand how painful it is to lose a child.
Yeah.
All right. That is the worst pain a parent can experience in their, meager time on this planet, in my opinion. But they do that to men on the regular 5 days a week, 50 out of 52 weeks a year.
Yeah.
They take away a man's children. And that is incredibly painful.
Mm-hmm.
Turn them into wage slaves, treat them like second-class citizens. And they literally just go off the rails and wind up killing themselves. It almost got me. I mean, back in like 2000.
Yeah, well, I don't mind telling you, it almost got me too.
Yeah.
my ex-wife kind of blew my life apart randomly one year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Women don't seem to have any kind of mercy.
No. Once they see a shiny new object and that's what they want, they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty savage.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you had anybody in your department commit suicide? If it's too personal, you don't have to answer.
Not while I was there. Before I joined, I think 4 years before I joined, they had a guy go off into the woods and hang himself. I never really asked about that one too much. But we've had neighboring departments, some guys off themselves from there. So it has hit our community, just not directly in the department.
Just next time you hear about stuff like that, just do some basic inquiries and see if there's divorce.
What the common factor? It's almost always divorce, I'm sure. That's what a lot of the male suicides that I've responded to have been.
Yeah. I mean, one of the ones that really bothers me the most, and this happened while I was on Fort Lewis. There was this master sergeant, great dude. One of those guys who go to bat for you, always had great advice.
Mm-hmm.
And he was literally 3 or 4 months away from retiring. Once he dropped his retirement packet, his wife wanted to divorce him, and she was going to get half his pension and all that.
Of course. Yeah.
And
too calculated.
Yeah, they wound up pulling him out of a local body of water. He had drowned fishing, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his blood alcohol was like 1.5 times that.
Yeah, through the roof. Absolutely.
Yeah, through the roof. So they said it was an accident, but who knows what happened.
Yeah, you get dark thoughts while you're out there.
Yeah, you keep drinking and you lose. Fall off the boat.
Yeah.
You don't drink and swim. That's why it's in my safety briefing. It doesn't work out too well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had other soldiers, like this one E6 got hit with a divorce, drove his crotch rocket into a viaduct at north of 150 miles an hour.
Mm.
That one was a bad one.
Yeah.
And it's all around. All I'm saying is this. Is we're going to have to take some serious steps to try to fix this, because this is going to wind up turning into something incredibly bad if we can't.
It's honestly already bad. It's you've got a massive imbalance as far as who is expected to take the responsibility for everything bad.
Uh-huh.
And then you have the other side who's just assumed to be the victim or assumed to be the weak one that needs protecting all the time. And that's not always the case. That's often not the case.
Yeah. Listen, I am not a fan of any of that bullshit.
Yep.
All right. We're at 20 after 9. So let's get Jimmy on here and then we'll cover some super chats. Let's get those covered.
All righty. Yep. Just hanging out in the backstage here, gents. So don't mind me. So got a handful over here over on YouTube. Got Jackson Whittier, a couple right back in a row, $5. Says, Pop, I saw you talk about the methylene blue and lion's mane mushrooms. Would I see any benefits to them using them as a 22-year-old male?
Well, if you've had concussions in the past, yes. Because that actually, the methylene blue helps you from continuing any damage in your brain. And the lion's mane actually helps your body create more neural connections. You can't go wrong with those two things.
There we go. All right. And his second one here says, I had an ex falsely accuse me to the police after I told her entire family she cheated on me. Only reason why I wasn't arrested is the cop had no evidence.
Good.
Yep. That's pretty common. And Sean St. George, $4.99, says, at least in the chamber, CS will clear out your sinuses. The spray is just pain.
Yep, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Pain in the spray. All right, we'll jump over here to megtail.tv, the best chat on the internet. I got a James 1225 says $2, says drive on hard. In
All right,
reference to the story that we read earlier. Crazy Uncle, $5. Email at redoc12.com. All right, let's see here. If you guys have not looked into the horse shit, you might want to. CBDC. Yeah, I've heard quite a few things going on around about that shit.
Yep.
Fun stuff. Link Swordjack, $2. He says, what supplements does Pop recommend for increasing your energy?
Let's see. NAD. It's NAD plus. It helps with your mitochondrial, energy. I can't explain how it works, but it helps your cells use energy more efficiently. If you have like low energy all the time, I would suggest change your diet around. If you've been eating like a standard American diet, your entire life, when you get older, that no longer fills the role of providing proper energy, mainly because of insulin resistance. So you might have to switch over to a keto kind of diet with less carbs, so your body uses ketones instead of sugar, and that usually helps a lot with increasing energy levels.
There we go. Oh boy. Single for life. He requested it.
Oh no.
Sorry, guy.
God, that's eye trash.
My eyes.
Where's the bleach at?
Where's the OC spray?
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Jump back in the chats here. Link Soy Jack's got a couple here in a row. First one is, what alcohol do you guys like to drink and cook with? What brands?
Oh, well, let's see. I don't really cook with alcohol. I drink it. I'm good with any kind of whiskey, and it doesn't have to be fancy. Just whiskey or tequila, that's it.
As long as it's not Whistle Pig, right, Pop?
That's too expensive.
In Vegas, it is. Holy shit.
God, I couldn't believe how expensive that bottle was.
Jesus Christ. And you said it wasn't even all that good either.
No, it sucked.
God. Let's see. Link's second chat here. It says, the worst part about being an N cell is the ones are just as crazy as the 10s. Dated a crazy Womalo at church. The whole time I wished I was gay.
Listen, if you're dating a woman and she's crazy and you want to just fucking break it off, break it the fuck off. You are not doing yourself any favors by continuing that road of insanity. It will not take you anywhere good.
Yep. And be careful how you break it off because, well. And if she catches you, she's going to break it off in your ass.
Yeah, she will.
Man.
So be careful on that one. Let's see. And we got a spam bot fodder with $5. He says, I am one of the lucky ones that can use OC spray as a food additive. I love the stuff. I don't react badly at all to the stuff.
You're a lucky motherfucker.
It's supposed to go in your eyes, not your mouth. That's why you're not reacting.
Yeah. All right. So we jump over at our Rumble over here. Got Suze McCarley with $5. Says, go ahead and use up all the quote unquote free therapy, but will almost definitely be bad advice. Most of what you need is right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, truth and common sense with a little bit of comedy. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? Eh?
Yep. Does a man who's down on his dumps many, many great things. Let's see, you got a Professor Blake Pooh Ass Blaster 3000. Says, Pop, I have met a decent girl, just taken my time getting to know her. We have a lot in common. Just asking, is it worth it to pursue if I just take my time, but still maintaining my frame?
All right. First of all, I don't want to be that guy responsible for breaking anybody up unnecessarily. I don't need any more bad karma. I got to work through at least three lifetimes of bad karma to get back to just zero. All right. Take your time. Keep your eyes open. You know, if there's any craziness or if your gut's telling you something's going on, look into it. And if it's not something copacetic, get the fuck out of it.
Like I said before, be very careful, because if she catches you, she's going to break it off in your ass.
Yeah, and women have so much power that they can ruin your goddamn life over nothing.
Yep. All right, jump over to Odyssey here. We got a handful over there. I got Blankets. Says, really enjoyed the Sunday movie commentary live stream of Army of Darkness, guys. It was my first time watching it. Before, the only other Sam Raimi movie I ever watched before was the Spider-Man 2002 and Spider-Man 2 2004. Both of them are some of my favorite movies.
Yeah. All right.
And he's got an Army of Dead meme in there. I did try to open it up, and it was really small to read, so I'll go ahead and skip over that one.
All right.
Then we got a Shadowmancer Karen says, I want to see that kind of justice. If legal justice returns, the parasites will just find a new loophole for the system. The leeches need to feel the flames of vengeance, or they won't even hesitate to start again.
You're absolutely correct.
That is correct. And we'll do a quick head count over here. We got 447 over on YouTube. We got 520 over on Rumble. MigTower.tv is rocking 21. And Odyssey, we got 34. DLive 18. Twitch has 12. And Kick has 3.
All right. Cool.
Now listen, we're Army guys. You're gonna have to do all that addition for us.
Yep. See, Mountain Man 9395. He actually has a good question here. $5 over on MGTOW. Will you guys be covering the Trevor Bauer case?
I'm bad with names. What exactly?
He is. I was actually. I wanted to bring this up, but I was going to let you guys talk. He is the former pitcher in the MLB that got screwed over for the past 2 years. Got screwed out of $3 to $5 million in legal fees, all because some Kuantaha tried to. Well, she wasn't repaying him, but his bank account, because he's worth $51 million, and she wanted every single penny.
Yep. Yeah. Listen. He's not going to be able to get that money out of her. No. If it happened to me and I had the resources, I would have that bitch in court forever. She would never get another tax return for her entire life. I would take every piece of property I could from her just to make her life fucking miserable. Next thing I would do, I would sue the professional athletic organizations for punishing him without any evidence or even being found guilty. Because that's some horseshit right there.
Yeah, I actually read some stories on that, and he was like literally just cleared like just a week or so ago. And apparently there's text messages because, well, women are stupid and they can't plan shit out right. All right, let's see. Link Soyjack's got another one here on MGTOW. He says, I asked you the question about increasing your energy. What diet would you recommend besides keto? It didn't work for me. I struggle with brain fog and lethargy in general, and keto made it a lot worse.
Okay. Go with, 3 or 4 small meals, and then try to keep your sugars to like just what's in the natural food, like, sugar and tomatoes, a little bit of fruit here and there. Stay away from the processed sugar, and try that. And then make sure you maintain your water intake. Yeah. Cause I suffer with the brain fog thing too. That's why I do the methylene blue, the lion's mane, and then there's some other nootropics that I take that seem to be helping. So
there you go. All right, jumping back over here on Rumble, got Cliff 3188. This is a good one. Gents, remember to turn your phones off and internet before 1:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. That's when the national alert system is supposed to start and go for at least 30 minutes. Who knows what the real life goal is?
Yeah. Well,
At
I'm put mine in a Faraday bag, I think. Turn it off, put it in a Faraday bag.
Yep. So 2:20 Eastern Standard Time is when that's supposed to go off. So keep an eye on the clocks there, gentlemen. So, Broken Pine. He's got a link here. What do we got here? I don't know. Open that up real quick. See if it's relevant to the topic tonight here. That one looks like. Yeah, I might have to forward that one to you, Pop. That one's it's just a link to a Black Rocks Reporter site there.
Okay.
So I'll be sure to do that. And got Professor Blake Pooh Ass Blaster back again. He says, Pop, what do you think of Kevin McCarthy getting ousted as Speaker of the House?
Okay, I am 100% behind that, mainly because he made a bunch of promises. Then he went right back to the rhino bullshit. Now there's a whole new crop of Republicans who are MAGA Republicans, and he promised them all of this bullshit to become speaker, and he went back on it. And guess what? You fuck around, you find out. I'm glad he's gone. We need to find somebody in there who's willing to, ask the tough questions, take the tough actions, and try to turn this fucking franchise around. More of the same and go along to get along is why we're all fucked up right now, in my opinion.
Yep. And the Speaker pro tempore has given Nancy Pelosi, I think until tomorrow or Thursday, to clear out her office.
Good.
So hopefully we'll be seeing some shit get turned around here.
Yeah, because I am thoroughly disgusted and ashamed of my federal government. I cannot believe how dysfunctional and fucked up this whole thing is, and nobody's doing anything about it. It literally needs to get fixed.
Yep. Time to take a baseball bat to the machine.
Well, something's got to happen.
And beat some cogs loose, figuratively speaking, of course. That's all right. That looks like, I think, we can just do a quick double check on the chats here. Looks like all caught up there. And we do have an Iron Riddle story tonight as well.
All right, yeah.
Just to jump on in there. So, all right, this one comes from Iron Riddle. He is number 451. Starts off with, I was leaving school when I was 18. It was spring and close to graduation. I had my car full of friends, and I was on my way to BK. I looked over to a city playground and saw my best friend Joe stomping around on what was an obvious fit of rage. Joe is the same friend of mine from my car shenanigans story. He was dating a new girl, Danielle. She was chasing him around and trying to calm him down. I almost caused an accident getting off the road and into the parking lot where Joe was having his fit. I ordered Danielle, fuck off back to the car unless you want to get your ass beat. Now I'm following Joe around to get him to calm down. He is spewing all of the dialogue of the fight he just had with Danielle. That fucking bitch, why won't she let me do something? As I'm trying to calm him down, I figured out that Danielle told Joe that her ex-boyfriend had an unwelcome snuggle struggle.
Oh, no.
Joe was on his way to beat the shit out of the ex, and Danielle wouldn't let him. When at the winter dance, Joe thought I was going to beat his ass. I was now afraid Joe was going to lose his shit and start wailing on me. I had about 4 inches and 25 pounds on him, but it wouldn't have been pretty. He ended up punching the door to the community center. Fuck! God damn it! Broke my fucking hand! Hold on, let me see. Yeah, you broke your hand, Joe. Let's get you home. Moral of the story is Danielle was lying about everything. This was in 1990 and she was 16. She was an absolute crazy biatcha, charismatic, narcissistic, pathological liar that we are all trying to avoid. She even tried to keep me as a back burner or future monkey branch as soon as I shipped to boot camp while she was still dating Joe. She kept writing me unsolicited letters. I have no fucking clue how she kept getting my address. This kind of shit has been going on for centuries. Iron Riddle, out.
Now, listen, I probably have hundreds of Jody stories, and that's what we call it in the military. That guy can attest to this. When you leave for basic training, and you're a high school girlfriend, I don't care if you've been with her, all the way since grade school, whatever. You need to understand, the minute you get on the first thing smoking out of town, there's going to be 2 penises in all of her holes, and it's a wrap. You're going to get dumped. You just have to accept it. That's just the way it goes.
When you ship out, you're single.
That's right.
You'll be a lot happier that way if you just make that be the policy.
Because listen, I was one of those dumbasses, and my girlfriend, oh, she's different. I love her. Got Dear John in the Army.
Oh, yeah.
And it was devastating. I was very upset over that for a long time because I was stuck in the blue pill thinking. Once you go to the red pill and you realize women's nature, then you're like, okay, it is what it is. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do other things. Fuck it. So It is what it is. And listen, they almost always try to sling you back down the road.
Yep. 3 kids and 200 pounds later.
Yeah, I've had in the past 10, 12 years, I've had about 8 women that I've known in the past, contact me out of the blue. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, we're good. Last one was just like a week ago. Not going to say her name because she watched the show, I guess, but it is what it is.
Fun times. Let's see. Before I miss this one, Professor Blake Pooh Ass Blaster 3000 also says, also I heard Russia is supposed to do a nuclear bomb test tomorrow.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Now, technically, under the current treaty agreements, they can do below ground testing all they want. That we do it. So who knows? Yep,
fun times. Jumping back over to Odyssey here, got Alucard 1776, got a couple in a row here. Says, do you think that United States will go bankrupt while aiding Ukraine?
It's a very, well, let's say it is a possibility. It's on the table.
Yep. And actually, while I was sitting backstage there, I was scrolling through Twitter or Instagram, one of the two, can't remember. But in one day, we added $245 billion to the debt.
Yep.
Fun times.
Yeah. This is not good.
No. Let's see. His second chat here was some chick asked me if I'm single, and I said, still classified.
You know what? Listen, I'm old now. Yeah, I've been around the block a few times, and I don't really get approached that often. But ever since I got divorced, not even trying, I usually stumble across 1 or 2 pieces of ass a year, and that's all it is. I know how this all works out, and I'm not having any more kids. I'm never getting married again. I am not paying somebody else's bills or medical bills. Fuck them. That's it.
Yep. We got more fun than a barrel of monkeys jumping in here. It says, I'm just waiting for my ex-wife and mother of my son, he's got full custody, to try to sling back fucker in the head with a brick in Minecraft.
Now, if you watch the video Sling Back Effect, I go through the criteria that usually happen before they sling you back. Typically, it's 7 years have passed. She's had 2 or 3 failed relationships, or something major in your life changes, like you dump a lot of weight, you get another job or come into money or something. That's when the slingbacks happen. It could be a combination of all 3 or just one.
Yep. Usually when you go to the gym, you get buffed up a little bit, or you just happen to win a couple $100,000 on a scratch-off ticket.
Yep. Now, listen, that is not good at all, man. No. But that's how it works. I made that video like a decade ago.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Looks like we got one last chat here on Rumble from Fan I Am. Says, I bet she didn't even want Joe to confront her ex because he would find out that it wasn't a snuggle struggle, but a consensual hookup / cheat.
Yeah, I would bet on the cheating.
Yeah, it's the that's where I would put my $50 chip.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
listen, while I was in the Army, there was about 8-9 times we'd come back from a deployment and I'd have to like intervene, keeping a Joe from, going into the civilian sector and doing some stupid shit. So this one woman, and she was very, very attractive. And she was going out with this one dude for like a year and a half. And we got sent down to Panama for 6 weeks to do jungle warfare training and assistance in counter drug operations. We come back and she's got the sob story that, she didn't mean it. She was drinking. He kind of forced himself on her. And she was flirting with that line of saying it was rape. And this dude was literally going to go get his shotgun and kill this other guy. This is like serious repercussions for stuff like that. And it took us pretty much an entire weekend and a lot of booze to get him to change his mind. So there's probably a whole bunch of dudes in prison who are there because some woman was diarrhea mouthing or doing something stupid. Meth and dicks.
Meth and dicks, man. Fuck you up.
When you boil women's problems down to the two major things, it's meth and dicks.
Yep.
It's either some kind of drugs or drama from dick. It's one of those two.
Dick drama.
It is.
Yep. Let's see. Last one over here on MGTOW.tv. Got unlucky in love, unlucky in cards. He says, "Is it true women get wet when you ignore them?
Yes.
Treat them like they're fat hogs you don't want to touch? I tried being interested in them. That doesn't work."
Here's the thing, and I've noticed, is once your I don't give a fuck light comes on, you move up at least 1 or 2 tiers in the attractiveness to women. I don't know why that is. I don't get it, but that has been my experience.
Yep. Usually that's been my experience too, but whenever they do show up and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've liked you for a while," I'm like, "No, you go ahead and get your ticket, hop on the train, and you know where to go."
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop!
I love that. That is
Oh, wow.
There you
it's
go.
so true. So that guy, would you say that that Boxwine and Catland is fairly accurate?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Have you actually ever gone on any calls to like some of these women who are living alone in Catland?
Yeah. Actually, one of the worst cases of hoarding that I've ever seen was one of those. It was cat shit everywhere, dude. It was vile.
I imagine there was probably a few cat corpses laying around in there too.
None that I saw. I think they had the good sense to leave the house before they got to that point. But yeah, it was a mess.
Ugh, nasty. Let's see. Jumping back over here to Rumble here. Got broken to Pine 284. $20 says, imagine your federal government members gave standing ovations in your house of government to a 14th Waffen SS veteran. Our Canadian vets are rolling in their grave.
Yes. Listen, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was not a good moment for them.
Yeah. It's like, no, we all hate Nazis, but it's okay if you're a Nazi that was killing Russians.
Well, hang on. All right. So they hate Nazis, but the thing that made like 95% of the Nazis in Germany was complacency.
Yep.
Just think about that. Evil wins when good men do nothing. That's what happened during the whole Nazi bullshit. I hope that doesn't happen here.
Yeah, I won't hold my breath, but I'm going to be the gray man and saying, keep me out of the fight. I'm going to stay out of the fight as long as possible. And if you do drag me into the fight, well, better hope that you're on my side, because no mercy and or fucks will be given.
Yeah, you'll be sorry. You call me in there, it's fucking not a good thing.
Can be someone's gonna die.
I myself, I'm too old for that shit. I'm just gonna run away. There's nothing I could do.
Yeah, it's no bueno. Alrighty, that looks like that sums up the chats for tonight. Just do a quick double check here.
All right.
Yep, that looks like it. Check emails here in case we got anything over there.
Did we get a cash
Does
app?
not,
I don't see a cash app.
does not look like no cash apps there.
All right.
I don't see any. So I think
Well, hang on. So that guy. So how long have you been in the army?
It's gonna be 13 years now.
All right. So you started off there, and then you went over to law enforcement.
Yep.
Did the military help you get that job?
Yeah. My chief was he was an MP way back in the day, doing weapons training over in Germany with our esteemed allies. So during my interview with him, that's basically all he talked about. So I would say it helped me at that specific department, but I went through a couple interview processes at a couple different departments that wanted nothing to do with me because I was military.
Yeah, I've had both things happen to some of my soldiers. I had one guy who worked for the Michigan Correction Facility people, and he had a supervisor who was literally taking vacation days away from him so he could come to the military drills. And I couldn't believe that. I mean, there's laws on the books. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
He only had, I think, was it 16 or 18 vacation days a year. So she burned through all his vacation days and then was giving him, they call it bad time for.
Yeah.
And I literally, I got a copy of the Michigan State budget, found the line item on the budget to that particular prison. And then I wrote a letter to all of the senators and the governor explaining, that the law that was passed, I don't remember the actual law, in regards to people serving in the National Guard. And, this institution was ignoring that, and they should basically have their funding cut off.
Yep.
I wrote those letters. Then I took all of those letters, a copy of the law and the reports from this soldier who was getting bad time, and I FedExed them to the warden of the prison. I FedExed it to his fucking house. So 2 days later, I get a call from this particular soldier, and he's just like, "Yeah, Sergeant Pop, I don't know what you did, but I got a call from the warden, and he wants me in his office right now. What did you do?" And I explained it to him, and he was shitting a brick because he thought he was going to get fired.
Yeah, absolutely.
He walks in there, and the warden is like, "This is what's going to happen. You're getting all your vacation days back. We're taking all the bad time off. We're going to move you to a place of your choosing, and this supervisor is done."
Good.
And he, you know what he took? He actually became what's like one of those drill sergeants for troubled youth.
Yeah.
And he did that until he retired.
It's not a bad gig.
No. He said it was.
I'd never do it, but it's not a bad gig.
Well, he said it was way more rewarding than dealing with people in the prison.
Yeah.
Because, he actually had some, positive stories where he actually got people on the right track so they didn't continue to, goat screw their lives.
That is good. Yeah.
we don't need anyone goat screwing their lives anymore.
No.
Let's see. I think we did see a couple more jump up. Yep, got one more over here from More Fun the Barrel Monkeys on Odyssey. Says Shaggy, look into the sinking of the Listania. Looks like Churchill dragged us into the fight in World War One. Do you really want anyone to drag you into any fights? No, I don't want anyone to drag me into any fights, but sounds like a similar thing that FDR may or may not have done with Pearl Harbor.
Yep. There's some suspicions to that.
Seems suspicious about that.
It does seem incredibly convenient that every single aircraft carrier was out of Pearl Harbor when that happened. Either we're extremely lucky or there's some shagnanigans going on.
Yep. And let's see, we got one more over on YouTube from Alex Patino, $5. It says, unfortunately, it almost happened in the USA of a Waffen SS member. Look up Larry Thorne.
Okay. Well, here's another thing that really pisses me off about this whole Nazi shit. Okay. Now, after World War II, we swooped into Germany and we took a bunch of people who were, straight up Nazis, brought them over here to work for us, and we forgave a lot of the bullshit that they did. I personally did not agree with that decision. All right. Did it benefit the United States? A little bit. I mean, the guy who built the V2 rockets that rained down on London built the rockets that supposedly sent people to the moon and into orbit. Other than that, some of that shit that went on during that World War II whole, it was just unforgivable. And there's a lot of people out there like, hey, the Holocaust never happened. And when I was a kid, I lived in Oak Park, Michigan. I talked to probably a couple hundred people who had the tattoos on their arm, told me the same story. I saw the pictures of family members who didn't make it out of that era, and it was heartbreaking. And I get a little upset when people are like, oh, that Holocaust never happened. I would say it did happen, number one. And number two, it wasn't just the Jewish people that got, slam fucked. There was like 18 to 20 people. Yeah, there was 18 to 24 million people who got flushed down the toilet. 30 to 40% of them were Jewish. The rest were undesirables of whatever make that they had. But the thing is the whole world is upset about the whole Holocaust for the Jews, but they're forgetting everyone else. Everyone should be remembered equally, that, in my opinion, during that hellish time. And I hope to God we never have that happen again.
Would be not good. Not good at all. But all right, let me jump back through here. Looks like I got one more over on Rumble. Benny D says, found the red pill 2 years ago at 41. Slowly trained myself to avoid dating. Since I stopped chasing or caring, everything changed. It was a dating desert while chasing, but have women chasing me now.
Yeah, that's actually fairly common.
Yep. Don't forget, gentlemen, we are the prize. The women are just there.
And here's the crazy thing is I'm getting reports that women are going to like Home Depot and Lowe's try to pick up dudes.
Yeah.
This is going to get worse. I mean, the red pill and the big towel is taking off, and sooner or later it's going to break into mainstream.
Yeah, that is, if we can get past all the people just sitting there talking shit, saying, "Oh, they just hate on women. They can't get laid. They probably got a small penis," and like, shut up.
You know how many times I hear that? Like, you hate women. I'm like, stop. I have been to the end of the road that leads you down. I've been to the pit at the end of hatred where that road leads you, and it's a mass fucking grave. I am not there. I do not want to kill anyone. I don't want anyone to go in a mass grave. At worst, I am very upset. I might loathe you, but I certainly don't want to maim or kill you. So therefore, I do not hate you. That is the end result of hate.
Yep. Not a good time, man. Not a good time.
Not. I mean, I severely dislike. I'm guilty of that, I guess. And I will admit to it. I mean, I'm very upset with the system. Mm-hmm. I am very upset how I was treated in the Western world. And the men out there are waking up. I mean, 5.1 people out of 1,000 are getting married now. All right. I will not rest until I bring that down to 0. Because I'm tired of burying you guys.
Yep. So, yeah, I got a couple more here. Just for that, I think we can call it a night here. Not a moose over on Rumble says, just wait until shit hits the fan in the West. Pretty sure it's already have. Then I don't need no man, woman. The I don't need no man women are going to get desperate and attach themselves to a man.
They'll try.
Yep.
Now, if you're a dude, you want to be smart, you don't need to have that anchor. If you're not in a relationship, when the shit hits the fan, do not start one after. You are no one's white knight. You are no one's savior. Feminism has won. You tell them the same answer you would tell a dude. Cowboy up, man up, and handle your shit. It's just that simple.
Yep. And I think last one here for the night, more fun than barrel monkeys over on Odyssey. It says, Pop, on what you mentioned about hoping for mass murders by governments not happening, what is your ESP telling you? Is there something you see that we can do to prevent this evil?
Well, typically, you cannot reason with evil. Evil will weaken you to the point where it can take over and do what it's going to do. And that's what's happening right now. They've weakened the men. They've destroyed the school system. They've taken the sheeple who are uneducated and turned them into useful idiots. They've literally set the stage, and now they have to execute, which they're trying to do. The last thing I think that's holding them back from full execution of whatever they want to do is the fact that the United States has a lot of guns there. And typically, tyrants don't do well against an armed population. Every single bad thing that's happened in the past 200 years to civilian people happened after they were disarmed. And that's what history says about that.
Yep. And just the other day was the anniversary of a certain event in Las Vegas. I was seeing a lot of people talking about saying, "Oh, this was the worst mass shooting in history in America." I'm sorry, but no. But Wounded Knee was. And what happened right before the shooting started?
Yep.
Took away the guns. So not good. Not a good time. All right. Just do one final check here because I don't want to miss anybody's chat here. Looks like we are all clear. So want to thank that guy for coming on, doing an interview with Pop, and telling us some stories on his end.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
Pretty sure
problem,
Pop would agree. So you're more than welcome to come back anytime you can.
Yeah, and are you satisfied with your anonymity?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, because I got reports from Blake that you were a little hesitant that this show was too spicy.
Listen, they'll fire you for anything these days.
I know,
Yeah.
but my main goal is I'm trying to keep guys from killing themselves. I'm talking about current events and trying to help these guys see the dangers and the red flags before they sign that blank check with their penises.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's ruining.
I wish I did way back in the day.
How long were you married?
Only 5 years, thankfully. No kids out of that one.
Did you get married again, or?
I'm dating someone again. It's night and day between who I was married to and who this person is. I can't speak highly enough of her as a mature adult.
All right, just don't fall back on the.
Oh, I know.
She loves me. She different. She good people. That would never happen.
Exactly.
Because it happens.
Oh, I know.
Don't do that. All righty, Pop. We are all caught up on Super Chat, so safety briefing.
All right, everybody. Don't drink and drive, and don't drink and swim. It never works out. If you're going to bang the opposite sex, use a condom and flush it down the toilet or take it with you. All right. If you have to fight, I don't recommend it. Do not go to the ground because that's where people get stomped out and they die. All right. If you're going to go out, keep your head on the swivel, rack up, pack up, and stack up, because shit's getting real out there, and I'm tired of burying you sons of bitches. All right.
There we go. All righty, gents. We will catch you in the next episode.
All right.
Take it easy.